If you hit $100,000 in net worth, you are standing at the most dangerous financial milestone of your life. Most people who reach it destroy their future wealth within a year. Not by losing money in a crash, but by making one of 3 decisions that feel completely reasonable in the moment. Meet James, 42 years old, a middle school teacher earning $63,000 a year. Last Tuesday, James opened his retirement account and saw the number he had chased for 13 years. $100,000. 6 figures. He had finally made it. Now, meet Emily, 33, a marketing coordinator earning $71,000. Emily hit $100,000 in just 8 years by living lean and investing every extra dollar, but she did not see safety. She saw an opportunity to finally play the game the way she always wanted. And meet Lisa, 37, a registered nurse earning $66,000. Lisa reached $100,000, and the number terrified her more than it excited her. She was scared of losing it, so she made the one choice that felt safest of all. 3 people, same starting line, same $100,000 in 3 different accounts. Now watch what each of them did next. James looked at his $100,000 and felt he had earned the right to enjoy life a little more. A nicer car, a weekend trip to somewhere warmer, a few upgrades that each felt harmless in isolation. Emily looked at her $100,000 and felt invincible. She had done the boring stuff for years. Now it was time to get aggressive. She moved a large chunk out of index funds and into speculative stocks she had only read about online. And Lisa looked at her $100,000 and did what felt safest. She left it all in a savings account, earning near zero, waiting for the crash that never came. 3 reasonable choices, 3 people who each believed they were being smart. Let us run the numbers on where each decision actually led. Here is the truth about lifestyle creep. It never announces itself as a big mistake. It arrives as a dozen small upgrades that each feel completely deserved. James upgraded his car. The payment jumped from $0 to $480 a month. Then he moved to a slightly nicer apartment, $350 more each month. Then dinners out, a few subscriptions, the weekend trips. None of it felt reckless, but added up. James's monthly spending rose by about $1,100. That is $13,200 a year that stopped flowing into his investments. At 8% over 20 years, that $13,200 alone would have grown to over $600,000. James did not lose his $100,000. He lost the future that $100,000 could have built. Most people think a crash destroys wealth. More often, it is the quiet, steady drip of upgrades that does the real damage. The fix is not to live like a miser. The fix is to decide your future spending before your current income decides it for you. Set a maximum lifestyle budget, automate the rest, then let every raise increase your investments, not your expenses. Now, here's the trap of feeling untouchable at 6 figures. Confidence is a good thing in investing, until it turns into the belief that you are smarter than the market. Emily had done everything right for 8 years. Boring index funds, steady contributions, patience. But once she hit $100,000, boring felt too slow for someone as disciplined as her. So she moved $45,000 into hot stocks and leveraged options she barely understood. For 3 weeks, it worked. Her $45,000 became $58,000. She felt like a genius. Then the market turned. The same leverage that multiplied her gains now multiplied her losses. $58,000 collapsed to $22,000 in 8 trading days. She had lost $23,000, more than her entire annual savings. The worst part is that she had traded a sure thing for a gamble. Had she left that $45,000 in a simple index fund, history says it would likely have grown, not vanished. Here's the rule that almost no one follows. Your first $100,000 is not risk capital. It is the foundation of your entire financial future. You do not bet the foundation to build the second floor faster. If you need excitement, wall off a tiny slice, no more than 5%, in a separate account. When that fun money burns, your foundation never feels the heat. Now here is the hidden cost of playing it too safe. Lisa did not gamble. She did not overspend. She did the opposite, and it still cost her. Terrified of a crash, she kept all $100,000 in a plain savings account. It felt responsible. No red numbers, no risk. but inflation acts like a hidden tax that steadily eats away at your purchasing power. At roughly 3% inflation, her $100,000 quietly lost $3,000 of buying power every year. Her balance never dropped, but what that balance could buy shrank a little each year. Over 10 years, staying in cash instead of investing cost Lisa more than $80,000 in lost growth. Safe from a crash that might drop 20%, she guaranteed a slow leak that never stopped. Here is the reframe that changes everything. For long-term money, cash is not the safe choice. The real risk over decades is not a temporary crash. It is a permanent, guaranteed erosion of value. A diversified index fund has been down some years, but over long stretches it has always climbed. Keep a cash cushion for emergencies, but long-term money must be planted where it can actually grow. So what should you actually do the moment you hit 100,000? Let's look at the math. If you simply leave that 100,000 invested and add nothing, at 8%, it doubles roughly every 9 years. In 9 years, it becomes 200,000. In 18 years, 400,000. In 27 years, 800,000. And you never added a single extra dollar. If you cross 100,000 by age 35, it becomes over 1 million by 65, touching nothing. That is the snowball finally rolling on its own. Your job shifts from pushing to simply not stopping it. Now add $500 a month to that 100,000, and over 30 years, the balance climbs past $1.7 million. This is why six figures is the pivot. Below it, you push. Above it, the hill starts pushing back. David understood this. He is 48, a warehouse supervisor earning $57,000 a year. It took David 17 years of slow, steady saving to reach 100,000. The moment he hit it, he did something almost boringly simple. He changed nothing about his spending, kept buying the same index funds, and set his contributions to automatic. No celebration purchase, no gambling, no hiding in cash, just quiet, relentless continuation. Boring, yes, but boring is exactly what compounding rewards decade after decade after decade. 5 years later, David's 100,000 had grown to 175,000, even with only modest continued contributions. The most boring plan produced the least dramatic story and the best result. Here's what happens to your taxes once your money starts earning real money. When your 100,000 throws off $8,000 of gains, the government wants a slice. In a regular brokerage account, those gains and dividends get taxed, dragging your compounding down. But there are accounts where that slice shrinks to almost nothing, legally, on purpose. A 401k, a Roth IRA, an HSA. These are not boring acronyms, they are compounding shelters. Inside them, your gains grow untouched by yearly taxes, and the snowball rolls faster than outside. The Roth is especially powerful. You pay tax once now, then never again on decades of growth. So the moment you cross six figures, ask a simple question. Is this money in the most tax-smart home? Max the tax-advantaged accounts first. Only then let the extra spill into a regular brokerage. This one ordering choice can add hundreds of thousands to your final number over a working lifetime. Now here's the number that matters more than your rate of return, and almost no one tracks it. Everyone obsesses over squeezing an extra 1% of return out of the market. But early on, how much you invest matters far more than exactly what return you earn. A steady investor at 7% beats a genius stock picker who keeps interrupting their own compounding. Because every time you sell to chase something better, you reset the clock the snowball needs. So protect three things fiercely: your contribution rate, your low fees, and your uninterrupted time. A 1% yearly fee sounds tiny, but over 30 years it can devour a quarter of your gains. Choose low-cost, broad index funds, and you quietly hand yourself tens of thousands over a lifetime. On time, the cruelest math in finance is that the years you skip early are the ones worth the most. $1 invested at 30 does the work of nearly $4 invested at 50, which means the single best day to protect your snowball was yesterday. The second best is today. Now here is the part that is pure psychology, and it is the real reason people destroy six figures. Your brain treats $100,000 as a summit, and summits make people relax. For years, the goal pulled you forward. Then you touch the number, and the goal quietly vanishes. Without a next target, the brain fills the vacuum with the easiest reward available: spending. Or the brain gets bored of slow progress and craves a jolt. That is when gambling looks smart. Or the brain panics at having something real to lose and freezes. That is when cash feels safe. Spend, gamble, or freeze. 3 different reactions to the same simple problem. A missing goal. The antidote is almost insultingly simple. Set the next target before you finish celebrating this one. The moment you hit 100,000, name the next number out loud. 250, 500, a million. A named next goal keeps the snowball on the hill. It gives your discipline somewhere to point. David did exactly this. The night he hit 6 figures, he wrote his next number on a sticky note. That one sticky note did more to protect his wealth than any stock tip ever could. So let us make this concrete. Here is exactly what to do the moment your net worth hits 6 figures. Step 1. Do not make a single celebration purchase in the first 30 days. Not one. The urge to reward yourself is loudest right now. Let it pass before you act on it. Step 2. Confirm your money is actually invested, not sitting idle in a cash sweep account. Step 3. Max your tax advantage accounts before adding a single dollar to a taxable one. Step 4. Automate your contributions so the decision to invest is made once, not every month. Step 5. Write your next milestone somewhere you will see it every single day. Step 6. Keep 3 to 6 months of expenses in cash for emergencies and only that much. Step 7. Ignore every headline screaming that a crash is coming this month. Stay the course. 7 steps. None of them require genius, luck, or a hot tip. All of them require only discipline. That is the entire playbook. James, Emily, and Lisa each skipped in their own way. And the exact playbook David followed without any drama and without any regret. Maybe you are thinking, but I want to actually enjoy my life, not hoard every dollar. Good, you should. This was never about deprivation or eating rice out of a coupon jar. The point is that protecting your snowball costs you almost nothing you would actually miss. James's $1,100 a month of upgrades did not make him happier. Studies show the thrill faded fast. Lifestyle upgrades give a quick hit, then become the new baseline you no longer even notice. Real enjoyment comes from spending intentionally on what you love and cutting hard on what you do not. Cut the mindless spending. Keep the meaningful joy. Invest the enormous difference in between. And maybe you are also thinking the market feels too high right now to put money in. The market has felt too high at almost every point in its long, relentless upward history. Waiting for the perfect entry usually costs more than the dip you were trying to avoid. This is why David automated. Automation quietly buys through the highs and the lows without any drama. He never tried to time it. He just never stopped feeding the snowball month after month. Now, there is one more decision that ambushes almost everyone at the 6-figure mark. What about debt? You hit 100,000 invested, but you still carry a car loan, a credit card, maybe student debt. The instinct is to feel rich and ignore the debt. That instinct is quietly expensive. Here is the clean rule. Compare the debt's interest rate against your expected investment return. Any debt above roughly 8%, like credit cards at 20%, beats almost any investment. Paying off a 20% card is a guaranteed 20% return. Tax-free, risk-free, instantly. So the moment you hit 6 figures, hunt down and destroy every high-interest balance you carry. But low-interest debt is different. A 3% mortgage is not an emergency to rush. If your investments are expected to out-earn a low rate, mathematically, you keep investing alongside it. So the order is simple. Kill high-interest debt first. Keep low-interest debt. Never stop investing entirely. Get this ordering wrong, and you can pay thousands in interest while feeling responsible the whole time. David had one small card at 19%. He cleared it the same month he hit the milestone. Then he kept his low-rate car loan and kept investing because the math clearly told him to. Now, let us zoom out because you may not realize how rare crossing this line actually is. The median American under 35 holds a net worth of only a few $1,000s. Even between 35 and 44, the median net worth sits near $135,000. And that figure includes home equity and everything else, not just money quietly compounding in the market. So $100,000 in actual invested assets puts you ahead of most people your age. That is worth pausing on. You did something genuinely hard that most people never manage. But rarity is exactly why the next decision matters so much. You fought to reach thin air. Most people who slip back down do not fall from a crash. They step off the ledge themselves. The market rarely takes your six figures. Your own next move is what usually does, which is oddly good news because it means the biggest variable in your wealth is fully in your control. You cannot control the market next year. You can completely control whether you stay in your seat. And staying in your seat through the boredom and the noise is the whole discipline of getting wealthy. Here's the test that eventually comes for every six-figure investor. A sudden, expensive emergency. A roof leaks, a car dies, a job disappears, and suddenly your invested pile looks like a rescue fund. This is the exact moment people rip a hole in their snowball and never fully patch it. They sell investments in a panic, often at a bad price, and reset years of compounding overnight. This is precisely why the cash cushion is not optional. It is the shield that protects the snowball. With 3 to 6 months of expenses in cash, the emergency hits your cushion, not your investments. Lisa, for all her caution, actually got this one right. Her cash meant she never had to sell in fear. Her mistake was keeping everything in cash. Her wisdom was keeping enough cash for exactly this. The lesson is balance. Enough cash to survive the storm, everything else planted to grow through it. Build the cushion first, then let the emergency test come, because your snowball will roll right past it. That is the difference between an emergency that dents your month and one that derails your decade. Protect the snowball from the world and from the version of you that panics when the world gets loud. Let us make the automation painfully concrete, because a vague plan is a plan you will abandon by February. David used a boring 2-account setup that removed willpower from the equation entirely. Every payday, a fixed percentage moved automatically into investments before he could even see the money. What you never see, you never miss. The invisible transfer is the whole secret of the system. He started at 15% of every paycheck and nudged it up 1 point with each raise. Because raises are the danger zone. New money is where lifestyle creep quietly plants its flag. By capturing part of every raise automatically, David let his lifestyle grow slower than his wealth. That single gap, wealth outpacing lifestyle, is the quiet engine under every comfortable retirement. He also automated the boring maintenance. 1 annual rebalance, 1 fee check, and nothing else. No daily checking, no reacting to headlines. The less he touched it, the faster it seemed to grow. This is the part that frustrates people. Wealth building, done right, is supposed to feel boring. If your investing feels thrilling, you are probably gambling. If it feels dull, you are probably winning. Set the system once, and it quietly does the work through every mood, market, and distraction. That is how an ordinary earner like David quietly builds a genuinely extraordinary result. Here's the twist almost no finance video will admit. Hitting 100,000 does not make you rich. What it does is quieter and stranger. It is the exact moment your money starts outworking you. For your whole life, until now, your effort did the heavy lifting. Your savings built the pile. But past 6 figures, the pile itself starts adding more each year than you comfortably can, which flips the entire game. The skill that got you here is no longer the skill that keeps you going. Getting to 100,000 rewards hustle. Growing it rewards patience. And those are opposite muscles. That is why so many hard workers destroy their 6 figures. They keep using the only muscle they trained. They spend to feel progress. They gamble to feel speed. They shuffle to feel in control. But the pile does not need your control anymore. It needs your stillness. That is the hardest part. Here is the single line worth writing down and remembering for the rest of your investing life. The first 100,000 is the last time your effort matters more than your patience. After this milestone, the winners are not the smartest or the busiest. They are simply the stillest. David was not the highest earner. He was just the one who refused to interrupt his own growth. And that single boring refusal repeated for years is what quietly separates the wealthy from the rest. So the next time your net worth touches $100,000, remember what is really happening. It is not a finish line, and it is not permission to spend, gamble, or hide. It is the moment your money grows up and starts carrying the weight you carried alone for years. Your only job from here is to protect the snowball and refuse to knock it off the hill. Set your next number, automate your investing, keep your fees low, and then get out of the way. James, Emily, and Lisa all learned the hard way what the milestone really asks of you. You get to learn it the easy way tonight before you ever touch that number. Because the hardest 100,000 is only wasted if you let the wrong instinct spend it for you. Do the math, then do nothing, and let the hardest 100,000 you ever earned finish the job.